Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to another reaction. Before we get started, I just want to mention that there's going to be a whole bunch of videos that are going to get dropped all at the same time. However, the other videos that you are going to see, if you're interested, the Dreamcatcher, the NCT subunit, the Yeon music video, those videos were recorded on Wednesday, the 19th, whereas this video with August D is being recorded on the 23rd of April. The other videos, I just finished recording them at that time, and then I went on Twitter to post about it and be like, hey guys, I'm gonna be dropping some of these videos and hopefully get some people to get, excited and whatnot, just kind of hype it up. But then obviously the first thing that I saw was the news about Moonbin, which was, obviously a bit of a mind fuck, and it was a terrible tragedy. And I decided not only out of respect to just press the pause button on reactions, but also because of how kind of home it hit me. Not something that I really like talking too much about it, but I did touch on it on Twitter. So for that reason, I just decided to not record anything, not edit the reactions that I've already recorded. I just decided to avoid the camera as well as Twitter, social media, just in general, just take a break, because you would think that such a tragedy would bring people together, which obviously it did, but there are still more than a few things about that tragedy that really kind of made me lose a little bit of faith in humanity with some of the tweets and some of the shit that I saw. But thankfully, most of the interactions, most of the stuff that I've seen online, people were incredibly supportive as far as like all of the fandoms coming together. Everybody's just coming in to support and comfort each other. And obviously, rest in peace to Moonbin, and condolences to his fans, his family, his sister, his group members. It wasn't until that happened and I started looking more and more into it that I realized what kind of a huge role he had in K-pop and the kind of friends that he had in the industry, and just the stuff that really kind of warmed your heart. And it was incredibly unfortunate, of course, to see that. And I touched on it in a post, and I'm going to touch on it again. If you ever feel, down, if you ever feel lonely, I get the whole thing about not wanting to talk about it because you're afraid that people are either going to make fun of you, or the worst thing that somebody can probably say to someone who is dealing with some severe depression and whatnot is suck it up and don't worry about it. Just keep on moving forward. At the end of the day, I've seen some of those comments, and I can relate. I 100%. But at the same time, there's definitely someone out there. If this tragedy kind of taught me anything, and every time something like this happens, you kind of realize how many people can relate to your situation, how many people can really comfort you, even though they don't know you at all. And someone who is hundreds of thousand miles away from you on Twitter can probably relate to you more than someone who is as close to you as being physically there, which is kind of sad. But at the same time, there's still hope to be found, even in the darkest of places. So even if you feel in that state, if you feel like things are getting a little bit too rough and hard, whether it's a professional, whether it's a friend who you can find comfort in, whether it's an online friend that you can find comfort in. If there's anything that I've seen is whenever somebody, like if I'm seeing somebody is going through a difficult time, I'm always seeing like people tweeting back like, hey, if you want to talk about it, I'm here, all of that kind of stuff. So there's definitely, comfort to be found. And whatever happens, I hope that you will have like the strength in your mind to actually make the necessary steps to reach out. So that's all that I'm going to say about that. So this is going to be my quote-unquote comeback. We're checking out Haegeum by Agust, of course. And the word Haegeum, and maybe I'm butchering the pronunciation there, but it has two meanings as I've checked out on genius.com. First of all, it's obviously a traditional Korean musical instrument. I don't know why I said obviously, because I didn't even know. But for you who are aware, then it's obvious to you. Now, there's another meaning to Haegeum. I'm being silly for some reason, but there's another meaning to Haegeum, which means to lift a ban and allowing something that is forbidden. That is something that Suga talked about on IU's Palette, which, yes, I did react to, but it's only on Patreon. Sorry. Suga replied that the word Haegeum came to me when I was young and I played rhythm games. I loved playing rhythm games. When beating a certain stage, you would unlock a forbidden song. Then you could play a new rhythm. It was freedom from forbidden. Why don't I break free from those things? That's pretty cool. And now I do remember that he literally said that in that interview. For some reason, it slipped out of my mind. But in any case, let's get into this music video. I'm very, very excited. Obviously, I didn't have a chance to react to it on the day that it came out, so I'm very, very hyped. As far as the actual album goes, I do plan on potentially checking it out. There's a couple of songs that I'm very, very excited about. I do know that he has a couple of live clips released. There's a J-Hope collaboration. There's a feature with someone from The Rose as well. And there's a song called Amygdala that I believe Agust Suga himself actually talked about in IU's Palette. So it's definitely something that I would love to check out, but I'm not sure when exactly I am going to do it. So I'm going to take like this comeback and whatnot, kind of like one day at a time. And when I get the chance, I will check out the album and the whole D-Day documentary that Suga has on Disney Plus, if I'm not mistaken. That is something that I plan on checking out on Patreon either this Thursday or next Thursday. I'm not sure when exactly. I will keep you guys updated and make a post about it, so that way, if you are interested, you don't sign up for nothing. So keep an eye out on that. And if you want to check out some of my other BTS and Agust D reactions as well, check out the playlist, which also include Agust D, the music video, Detruita, of course, People Part 1, and also the latest one, Part 2, which featured IU. And without further ado, Haegeum, let's get into it. I'm immediately getting Detruita vibes, but it's modern, it's updated. Like, it feels like the same filming style, only Jin is not getting punched anywhere. He's literally going up to unlock.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay.
John Wick has a pencil, he has chopsticks.
이 노래는 해금 올라타봐 지금 복잡되는 리듬 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른 해금 이 노래는 해금 올라타봐 지금 복잡되는 리듬 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른 해금 이 노래는 해금 올라타봐 지금 복잡되는 리듬 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른 해금 해석되는 자유 개소리는 out 표현들의 자유 어쩌면 누군가의
Wait, the scars from Detruita, right? Wait, hold up, let's take it back. Hold up, there's a lot happening in the score.
당신의 판단과 추측이 확실한 신념들이 있는지 당신의 자유와 타인의 자유가 동일하다 믿는지 그렇다면 주저 말고 올라타봐 금지된 것들로부터 해박 각자의 취향조차 이해들을 못하는 불행한 이 시대를 살아가는 이들을 위한 이 노래는 금지된 것을 푸는 것뿐이지 허나 자유와 방종의 차이지만 부디 구분하길 이 노래는 해금
You must remember to differentiate freedom from self-indulgence. Holy shit. Damn. Oh. That smile. Damn.
과연을 금지시킨 건 무엇일까 어쩌면 우리 자신 아닐까 자본의 노예 돈들의 노예 중고심과 편견적 노예 노예 유튜브의 노예 플렉스의 노예 이기심과 탐욕이 미쳐나지네 눈 감으면 편해 모든 게 뻔해 이득에 따라서 뻔히 갈리는 결의 시기와 질투에 다들 말해 눈들이 먼해 서로가 서로에게 적세를 거는 것도 모른 채 쓰나미에서 쓸려내려가지 말게 우린 자유와 방종의 차이지만 모두 구분하니 이 노래는 해금 올라타봐 지금 복작되는 리듬
Oh.
또 다른 해금 이 노래는 해금 올라타봐 지금 복작되는 리듬 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른 해금
Wait, this is very reminiscent of Destruita.
복작되는 리듬 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른 해금 이 노래는 해금 올라타봐 지금 복작되는 리듬 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른 해금 이 노래는 해금 올라타봐 지금 복작되는 리듬 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른 해금
Oh my god, I just had a weird ass thought. Like, this is almost like a continuation of Destruita. Like, the times have changed. Holy shit, there's more time. This is the Joker. This is literally the Dark Knight Joker. Holy shit. Not even Joaquin Phoenix, because Heath Ledger was literally outside of the car. The police car. Holy shit, that's amazing. Because he's talking about capitalism, he's talking about being a slave to your wealth, to YouTube, all of that shit. Like, trying to be so up your own ass that you forget the fact that, you know, you can't actually breathe and you suffocate everyone. That was a weird... That kind of made sense, I think. Thank God I'm not a lyricist. Damn, that was amazing. So here's the interesting part. The song is a Haegeum. Like, something that is being unlocked, something that was forbidden. Like, almost like seeing the truth is almost forbidden because it's so... The truth is basically trapped underneath all of this BS that we call freedom. The whole part, it felt like Destruita only in modern times. Like, the original music video was more about like a mad king that is tearing everyone's heads and is killing everyone who, like, Agust is the Mad King. And Agust shoots the Mad King, which is almost like stopping himself from being that person ever again. The thoughts of thinking that I'm better than everyone else, the thoughts that I can just trample on the heads of those who are beneath me. This felt like those thoughts came back into his head now that he is literally like BTS is as big can get. That's what she said. But in any case, now, like, you have to imagine, like, back then when Destruita came out, and now BTS is even bigger. BTS is an entity all by itself. So it's only logical that these thoughts would kind of come back to haunt you a little bit, or you think to yourself that maybe I deserve all of this. Maybe I should just indulge. Maybe I should not use my platform to, you know, shine on other people. Something like Suchita, for example, right? Where Suga basically shares the spotlight. He, with his interviews with whoever it may be, showing that he's human, showing that he's vulnerable. So honestly, to me, this music video feels like a modernized version of Destruita, in the same sense that in today's world, a mad king cannot actually be a mad king. You can't just go around stomp on people's heads, behead them, capture them, and be like this ruthless dictator and whatnot. Here, someone who's a mad king, almost like he has the money, he has the strings, he has the connections, but at the same time, the same way this music video ends with the face off and the people turning on the mad king, or now the corporate king, or whatever king that Agust D is portraying in Haegeum, they turn on him the same way that they turned on the mad king in Detruita, because they fear him, but they don't really respect him. They don't really see any value, because they know that when push comes to shove, they're gonna get dealt with the same way that everyone else was. Whereas with Agust D, the regular Agust D, the one who strives for something greater, that wants to make a change, and is almost like, at first he kind of like almost like reminded me of like Robin Hood in a way when he stole the money and whatnot. But he basically like steals from himself in a way, because Agust D, the agent or whoever, is the one who's going after him. So it's almost like a mental battle between you and yourself and the version of you that you never want to become, which is something that I talked about with Detruita. But obviously, as far as like the lyrics themselves go, with this music video, which before going into the song and listening to it again, because there's some crazy flows in this one visually. When it just got started and Agust D was about to go up, I felt like maybe there was something like the Raid Redemption or like Dread shit happening, as far as like going up every floor and unlocking, much like Haegeum, and unlocking something that is forbidden. But here it's almost like the truth that is forbidden, the truth that has been manipulated in such a way where everybody wants freedom, everybody wants expression of free expression, but at the same time, there's a really interesting lyric here. Freedom of expression could be the reason for somebody's death. Could you still consider that freedom? That one kind of hit very, very hard, and especially in today's world where you can basically say whatever you want about whoever you want. But the last thing that anyone is going to check is if it's actually true, So at the end of the day, I feel like this song is the lyrics are incredibly hard hitting, and the pre-chorus says it best, honestly. The song is simply about freeing what's forbidden, but you must remember to differentiate freedom from self-indulgence. Freedom is a beautiful thing, but self-indulgence can be quite destructive, and the lyrics with the interpretation is free for all. You can interpret anything however the fuck you want. You have the freedom of expression, but that freedom of expression could be a reason for somebody's death. If your convictions are reflected in your judgment and speculations. Like those two, like your judgment and speculations are key words, because people lose everything based on speculations and judgment, someone else's judgment. And the fact that everyone has the freedom to express themselves however they want, that expression oftentimes is filled with untruthful things, let's put it that way. And being able to express yourself freely is a great thing, but is something, it's almost like it's that great power that you have, but you have no fucking responsibility for it. Because you say and you do whatever you want and whatever you feel like, you're self-indulging in that freedom of expression to the point where you don't really care what happens to the other person, because you don't actually know the facts about, whatever happens that leads to someone lose their life, somebody getting an idol getting kicked out from a group, something tragic that could happen based on like those judgments and speculations. It's almost like the more free you are to express yourself, the less accountability you almost have, because if all of your speculations and all of your judgment and everything that you've expressed about someone ends up being false, there's no accountability. Like, do you even feel sorry? Did you make an apology tweet or video because you felt sorry, or because you felt forced to do it because that's the procedure? You know what I mean? Like, and even lyrics, for all those living in these unfortunate times who don't even understand their own tastes. Like, to throw it forward, I guess, in the lyrics where he talks about being a slave to like YouTube, being, the whole capitalism thing, slaves to capitalism, to money, to hatred and prejudice, to YouTube, slaves to flexing, selfishness and greed have gone off the rails. Like, especially when I'm thinking about slaves to YouTube and flexing and hatred and prejudice, like, there is, when he says that all of those things have gone off the rails, he's not joking. Because even the blindest person can see that shit has gone south a long, long time ago. And like, when he talked about like slaves to money and capitalism, obviously is something that has always been a thing. Slaves to YouTube and flexing is something like I'm constantly thinking of like these dumbass pranksters who, there are like these lovely pranks that you can have where the person that is being pranked, he can actually laugh at it, and it's not a harmful prank. Nobody gets actually hurt. Nobody gets mentally tortured. But then there are those pranks where somebody goes into a supermarket, has a guy filming him, and he fucks with a customer, tries to take his bags, claim them as his own, and then you see that the person is having a hard time. You see that the person is getting incredibly upset. What would a normal person do? They would stop, but no, those views are more important than that person's state of mind, which could lead to something really, really bad, as far as like pranksters literally getting shot. But I don't even call them pranksters. These are just jokers. And what he talks about actually with, for all those living in these unfortunate times who don't even understand their own taste, actually in the second verse, before he talks about like slaves to capitalism, YouTube, hatred, prejudice, and all of that kind of stuff, he also talks about like the endless influx of information prohibits freedom of imagination. Like, it's almost like you are wrong for even having the thoughts that you may have. Like, imagination is almost like banned nowadays. There's so much stuff going on that you can't even ask questions. Like, usually if you want to know something, if you want to talk to someone to find something out, you can no longer do that without getting a whole bunch of people to hate on you just because you're curious and you're legitimately like clueless in one area. There's no more of that sense of comfort. Instead, everybody just jumps on the opportunity to hate on you. So the freedom of expression has suppressed the freedom of imagination, basically. So all these painful noises blind you, and now it even infringes on freedom of thought. All the controversy and incessantly triggers confusion in judgment. And he also says, what is it exactly that's been restricting us? It's really, really interesting. It's almost like it reminds me of a meme that now actually has become a reality, as far as like, you can be anything you want, you can do whatever you want, but no, not that way and not this way, no, except for this and that, and actually fuck you for even thinking about that. Like, and he also says maybe we do it to ourselves, like, which at the end of the day, I guess there's also truth in that. So what he basically talks about with the influx of information that prohibits freedom of imagination, like, you don't have anywhere to seek comfort from. You can't be curious. All of these painful noises blind you, all of this influx of information, that it even infringes on freedom of thought. And all of this controversy, it triggers your confusion in judgment, which kind of touches on the lyrics previously, where he talks about, for those living in unfortunate times who don't even know their own tastes, like, how can I know when I can't ask questions? I have all of this information that I don't even know how to filter. For every opinion that's supposed to be correct, I have 10 opinions that tell me that I'm incorrect. Like, there's no way you're basically blinded and you're just confused and you don't know what to think because there's so much shit happening. And if you dare ask a question and be curious, it throws me back to like there's like a meme or something saying, so somebody says that they love pancakes, so everybody gets offended, so you fucking hate Belgian waffles. Like that's the kind of thing. Like even then, like I can literally post like there's a website called Receiptify. Like it creates a receipt from your Spotify most listened to songs. I can post that and somebody's going to be offended that I don't have this other group in my top 10 group songs that I listen to. Like people will get offended about literally anything and everything. And obviously August D talks about much broader things, but when it even trickles down to the tiniest of things, I mean, that is kind of scary, I guess. I do feel like the Mad King version of Suga in Dechuita is here as like the almost like this mob boss, crime boss, or whatever that is, like that capitalism, like even the black suit. It's almost like death itself in a way. Everything that is wrong as far as like capitalism, hatred, prejudice, being all of these, the greed and selfishness, all of these things that the regular version of Suga is almost like trying to fight. Agust D, sorry. It's really, really interesting. And he even says opinions clearly split depending on what's the gain. Like people are not thinking about what's the right answer. People are thinking what answer is going to benefit me? What is going to give me more power? What is going to give me more followers, more clicks? How am I going to make more ad revenue from YouTube? And by doing so, by everybody is free to say and do whatever they want, that they didn't realize that they basically crushed each other, much like he's saying everybody's been blinded by envy and jealousy without realizing that they're putting shackles on each other. So the pre-chorus, the second pre-chorus, does talk about, I think it changes. Yeah. Whereas in the first pre-chorus, he says that this song is simply about freeing what's forbidden. In the second pre-chorus, he says, don't get swept by this tsunami of info because it's going to crush you. It's not just going to sweep you off your feet. You're going to get crushed because there's so much information that you're just going to get blinded and you will not know what to do with it. So unlock this Haegeum basically and kind of like don't focus on it because you can't differentiate what is freedom and what is self-indulgence. I guess. Okay, let's get back into this music video because the song itself is actually fucking awesome. And the message, I honestly see it as just Agust D like spitting facts, basically, and speaking on a world where, it almost feels like the concept of disagreeing with someone but still respecting them, still being able to be friendly with someone despite having a difference of opinion. It feels like that concept has been honestly like lost. And it feels like if you're not with me, you're against me. And people are so quick to judge. People are so quick to make speculations. People are so quick to whatever situation they face. It feels like whether it's people or corporations or whoever, like corporations, I guess it's always been this way, but like it's, your actions depend on not what is right. It depends on what will it do for me? How will I benefit from it? How will I gain from it? It's no longer about doing the right thing. It's about doing the right thing for me that will propel me or make me famous, make me money, make me, get more views and whatnot. I don't know. I feel like the song is a bit of a pipe bomb, to be honest. And let's get back into it.
Yeah.
Damn.
Okay.
Yeah. 이 노래는 해금 yeah. 올라타봐 지금 yeah. 복잡되는 리듬 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른 해금 yeah. 이 노래는 해금 yeah. 올라타봐 지금 yeah. 복잡되는 리듬 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른 해금 yeah. 이 노래는 해금 yeah. 올라타봐 지금 yeah. 복잡되는 리듬 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른 해금 yeah. 해석되는 자유 yeah. 개소리는 out yeah. 표현들의 자유 어쩌면 누군가의 한자유가 또한 자유일런지 당신의 판단과 추측이 확실한 신념들이 있는지 당신의 자유와 타인의 자유가 동일하다 믿는지 그렇다면 주저 말고 올라타봐 금지된 것들로부터 해봐 각자의 취향조차 이해들을 못하는 불행한 이 시대를 살아가는 이들을 위한 이 노래는 금지된 것을 푸는 것뿐이다 허나 자유와 방종의 차이지만 부디 구분하길 이 노래는 해금 올라타봐 지금 복잡되는 리듬
That smile. I love that smile. Like, even that's really, really interesting. Like, even like that fish in an aquarium, it's literally like a water tank. Like a gallon for like the water coolers and whatnot. It's kind of interesting because looking for like symbolisms online for fish in a bowl, since most fish bowls are round with no corners or spaces for a fish to hide, the word fishbowl has also come to mean a situation in which a person does not have any privacy, which kind of makes sense to me in the sense of like Agust himself, Suga himself, Jungi himself, and the fact that there is no escape because they still like he doesn't really hide from them. The Mad King version or the crime boss or the boss version of Agust still finds him at the end. Like that APB is out there for him. There's no escape for him and he knows it. So it's almost like been a plan from the very beginning to crush the system from the inside in a way. So maybe that's why I kind of like join us and let the song be a Haegeum, be something that unlocks something that is forbidden, because it's almost like forbidden to think nowadays, kind of, with all of the limitations and all of the influx of information and kind of like suppressing your freedom of imagination with the freedom to express yourself freely however the fuck you want. But at the same time, it feels like the more of that freedom is out there, the more people overuse it, get drunk on it. And, you know, usually with great power comes great responsibility. But with the expression, the freedom of expression has so much power, but people bear no responsibility or accountability for it. And therefore, the more of that you have, the more you basically self-indulge, and that is where you need to differentiate freedom from self-indulgence, because freedom can be a beautiful thing, but self-indulgence can be a destructive thing, which, you know, oh well. I talked about it previously, so I don't want to sound like a broken record.
과연을 금지시킨 건 무엇일까 어쩌면 우리 자신 아닐까 자본의 노예 돈들의 노예 중고식나 편견 혐오의 노예 유튜브의 노예 플렉스의 노예 이기식나 탐욕이 미쳐나지네 눈 감으면 편해 모든 게 뻔해 이득에 따라서 뻔히 갈리는 결의 시기와 질투에 다들 말해 눈들이 먼해 서로가 서로에게 족쇄를 거는 것도 모른 채 정보의 쓰나미에서 쓸려내려가지 말게 우린 자유와 방종의 차이지만 모두 구분하니
This is so symbolic, like it's so fucking crazy. It's literally like the lyrics personified in this. It's literally Suga who differentiates the freedom that he has from being a self-indulgent human being, which is the version of Suga that is that wants to kill him, but at the same time he's so full of himself that he could have killed him right then and there. But the other version, the normal version of Agust D, sorry, again, I'm confusing the names, knew exactly what is going to happen. Like, he made that boss version of himself feel so powerful to the point where he dropped his guard. And when they were by themselves, he did not kill them. He did not kill him. But at the end of the music video, where he's surrounded by what crime boss Suga thought was his own people, those people actually turned on him, much like in Dechuta, the people turned on the Mad King. Kind of. Not, you know.
쓸려내려가지 말게 우린 자유와 방종의 차이점은 모두 구분하니 이 노래는 해금 올라타봐 지금 복작되는 리듬
I love this. That's so fucking cool.
또 다른 해금 이 노래는 해금 올라타봐 지금 복작되는 리듬 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른 해금 이 노래는 해금 올라타봐 지금 복작되는 리듬 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른 해금 이 노래는 해금 올라타봐 지금 복작되는 리듬 어쩌면 이 또한 또 다른 해금 이 노래.
The smile was interesting by the black suit version of Suga, of Agust D, sorry. Like, he smiled almost as if like you're going to kill me, but it's not really going to do anything. Like, I'm just another. The wheels keep on turning. I'm just another hamster on that wheel, basically. Like, it's not going to stop. That's kind of how I see it in a way, because he did kill the Mad King version of himself in Dechuta, and he came back here, which is almost like a representation of Suga's dark thoughts kind of like coming back to haunt him in a way, or like that person that he doesn't want to become in a way, which is something that I talked about in the original reaction. Obviously, the lyrics here touch on a lot more than that. But it's a nice little thing to kind of like throw in as like an additional meaning for me, at least. Obviously, everything that I've been saying, I don't know how long I've been sitting here and talking about this music video. These are just my opinions and kind of like my interpretation. If there's an official one, feel free to let me know. But this is kind of how I see it. And this is awesome. Damn. The acting here was really, really dope. And this scene, I mean, if that's not a nod to The Dark Knight, I don't know what is. I guess like the Joaquin Phoenix Joker was kind of like talking about that as well, but just because he's hanging out of the actual window, that's why I'm thinking more of Heath Ledger, because Joaquin Phoenix was also, there was a shot of him in the car, in the police car, but I believe the window was closed. Damn. The way he looked at the camera sounds like, do you understand now? Sounds like, you feel me? you get me? That was almost like, quite literally like the definition of what he gave when he was talking about it on IU's palette, like unlocking a new level or something, if I'm not mistaken. This was fucking awesome. Honestly, I don't know what else to say, to be brutally honest. I felt like I talked about this music video for a while, and I'm probably gonna have to edit some shit down just because I was stuttering quite a bit, and my throat is a little bit sore. So this was an amazing music video. The song itself was a banger. If it wasn't for the chorus of Dechuta and the way Agust D just comes in, especially watching Suchita and that song being in the intro, I would probably say that this is my favorite song by Agust so far. I feel like a couple of more listens and it will probably be my favorite. And the subjects that he chose to speak on, and from his point of view also, because he's someone who did come, like BTS as a whole and the company as a whole came from nothing, and yet BTS are some of the most humble human beings that I think I've ever seen. So that kind of speaks a lot of volumes, whereas a lot of people get a tiny bit of power, a tiny bit of following, and they let that get into their heads. And I feel like despite everything, like he goes back to that place to eat some ramen, to this regular, almost like the place where he almost like always eats, but it's also the place where he got those chopsticks to kill that person. It feels incredibly symbolic to me. It feels like he's not going to change, and the kind of person he is, he's going to stay that person no matter what, even if he has those thoughts of like the Mad King in Dechuta, or here the version of himself that is, you know, the a personification of like the monopoly, capitalism, all of that kind of stuff, like everything that he could have become if he was selfish, if he was greedy, if he was if he had different characteristics to himself. And yet he chose to go back to that same place and just eat some ramen. And then he looked at you. It was super fucking symbolic, in my opinion. Let me know if there's any additional meaning to the actual music video. Let me know some of the meanings behind the lyrics, some things that I may have missed, some of your favorite lyrics of this song in general. Let me know all of that. I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. If I made any sense, let me know in the comment section down below, and I will catch you all in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, guys. See ya.